Hey everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. Had a lot of requests for more B.B. King, so in this lesson I show you how B.B. King approaches playing a guitar solo. And be sure to download the jam track. There's a new jam track for this one that I've created. It's a slow blues in the key of A. You can get it for free at ActiveMelody.com and practice with it. Let's get started. So as B.B. King gets older, his bag of tricks seems to get smaller and smaller. I just saw him a few weeks ago, and he doesn't play as many notes as he used to play. But his signature sound is still there, and a lot of that is his vibrato. He has this very cool vibrato thing that he does. I have no idea how he does it, but if you don't have a vibrato style, I highly recommend practicing and getting one. That's going to be half, or at least half of your sound will be your vibrato. And the way that you do it, the way I do it is I use my whole arm and go up and down. So it's not a wrist thing at all. In fact, I'm locked at the wrist there, but I spent almost a whole summer working on vibrato, so I highly recommend getting that if you don't have it. I'll do that in a future lesson maybe if there's an interest. But so the way that B.B. King approaches playing is very cool because it's actually pretty simple. If we're in the key of A, for example, he has these very major scale licks that he uses, and they fall into these little boxes or patterns. And the nice thing about it is once you kind of visually memorize that pattern on the neck, you can always do this, no matter what key you're in too, and I'll show you how to kind of switch keys. But if we're in the key of A, if this is the 5th fret, you go up 5 frets from the root fret. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I'm on the 10th fret here. And that pattern looks like this. It's the 10th fret B string, 12th fret B string, 10th fret E string, 12th fret E string. So it's pretty simple. It's a little box. I'm going to throw one more note in there. Take my middle finger and go to the 11th fret G string and play that note. So if we're in the key of A, those little notes there will give you the boundaries for how B.B. plays a lot of his solos. So if you're playing a slow blues, for example, you can see what I'm doing there is I'm just playing exactly those notes that I showed you. Now there's one other thing that makes it, and that's the bending. So vibrato is, if vibrato is 50%, bending it is probably the other 40%. Actually hitting the notes is kind of a small thing when it comes to the nuance of how you play the blues. It's all the other things that make it really work. But bending, the notes that you can bend in that little box are on the 12th fret here. You can bend that one. You can do a full bend. And you can bend here on the 12th fret B string as well. So you can do, that's the E string. That's the B string. So with those bends and those notes, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. Now the nice thing too to point out is B.B. always will play, he'll kind of land, a lot of his notes will be that A note, which is that, it's the 10th fret B string. He kind of resort to that. So if you're in the A chord or the D chord, doesn't matter. A chord, which is, most of the song in a 12-bar blues. When you go to the E, you may want to slide it up 2 frets, but you don't have to. You can stay right there. So if you ever get lost in your solo, you're not sure what to do, just remember that's home base. And that's kind of the way that a lot of artists kind of approach solo. You got to have your places to go if you do get lost. Another thing that B.B. does often that's outside of this little boundary is he'll reach up here and do these little these little slides at a high octave. And what he's doing, it's actually kind of simple, if, you know, like I said, we're in the key of A, so if the 5th fret is your root fret, he just goes up a full octave, which is 12 frets higher than the root fret, so it would be up here on the 17th fret. And he just reaches up and grabs it and goes, slides it down. So, and the nice thing about that is that's another little escape that you can go to if you ever get lost and you think, you know, where am I going to go next when I'm doing this? You can reach up here and slide it down, or the way that Clapton does it is he'll get up here and go and hit a vibrato. So he doesn't necessarily slide it, but he'll go up there and play that a few times. It gives you just enough time to sort of take a breath and think of where you're going to go next. So, I'm going to play along with a jam track now and demonstrate some of these BB licks. Oh, one other thing to show you real quick. So you got this major scale thing that's happening, this little box. Cool thing, if you slide everything down 2 frets, you're going to be in the minor pentatonic scale, which is the much bluesier sounding scale. So if you want to work, you know, what BB will do is he'll actually play, you know, most of his time, you know, 70% of it here in the major scale, and then he'll kind of slide to the minor scale, you know, at a turnaround or something. But most of his time is spent on the major scale. I'll demonstrate this as I play along with a jam track. So here it goes. It's going to start off there. There's that note that I was telling you, that note you can always rely on. In fact, you can just do the one note. See what I'm doing, how I'm staying in that little box? And when I'm sliding in there, I'm sliding in on that 11th fret G string. Now I'm up to that high E string. See how that works? Now, what I just did there, that's that minor pentatonic scale. Now, the thing is with this minor pentatonic scale, with the major one, you could bend, remember, you could bend the B string or the E string. When you come down to this one, you can only bend the E string. You can't bend the B string. See, listen to this. It gives you a note that doesn't work at all. So just remember that. With this one, you're limited on which strings you can bend. You can only bend the high E. Do that too. I've seen BB do that where he just kind of repeats it over and over again. A lot of that I think is for show, but some of it is just to kind of figure out where to go next. And you know, BB a lot of times, you know, he can't sing and play at the same time, which is kind of interesting about him. But he'll sing a line and, you know, then he'll play. And that's how that works. It's actually pretty simple. You know, there's all kinds of scales to learn, but if you just kind of stick to these little boxes and patterns, it makes playing a lot easier. So now let me show you how to transpose this if you were to be in a different key. All right, so like I said, the root fret is here on the 5th fret for the key of A. Now let's say we're in the key of G. G is down here. There's your G chord. So that's the root fret will be the 3rd fret. So everything we learned just shifts down 2 frets. So it all plays off that root fret. That's the way I think of a solo. So if we're in the key of G, for example, instead of your solo being up here, it's going to be down 2 frets. So